everyone, and welcome to this webinar. I'm delighted today to be joined by Guy Felio, who is going to take us through some information around asset management in Indigenous communities. And I'm delighted that Guy is able to join us because he was shortlisted for one of our awards last year, and it was really a great honour to meet him in person and have a great conversation. So as I just hand over to Guy, just to let you know, he's having some problems with his camera, so you will be able to hear him and you will be able to see the slides, but unfortunately we don't have the benefit of seeing him. But I can attest he is a real person. And I'm really delighted he's able to join us. If you would like to ask some questions, please put some questions in the questions tab, and we will pick up the questions a bit later on. So thank you. So Guy, I'll hand over to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Ursula. And again, apologies. Don't know why we're having problems with the camera, but I did everything, and short of restarting the computer, which would be too long. And appreciate Ursula vouching that I am a real person. I am located in Canada, and delighted to be able to talk to you about asset management in Indigenous communities. So really a little bit of my background. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but however, I've been working with First Nations Indigenous communities in Canada since 2007, doing a lot of asset management planning and training, and recently doing extensive work with probably about 7 or 8 First Nations in Ontario, building their asset management competencies and plans as well. Just a little bit of background. I mean, this is the definition of Indigenous peoples from the World Bank, and what is important to remember in this is the fact that really Indigenous communities are very, very grounded to their ancestries, to their lands, to natural resources, and certainly so their identities, their cultures, and livelihoods, which really include a lot of spiritual, cultural heritage, language, and so on, activities and well-being. So when we're doing an asset management plan for Indigenous communities, it's really important to remember these, because their visions and values, and when we're talking about levels of service, for example, they are likely different than what we would see in let's say Western society, urban centers, and so on. In terms of Canadian First Nations, I mean, I'm showing my experience in Canada, but this very likely apply to a lot of different Indigenous communities around the world. In Canada, for example, we have over 630 First Nations communities, as you can see from the map, and there is a reference here if you want to know more about all these communities. A lot of them are basically at the south part of the country, and a lot of them also have ties to Native communities in the United States. But however, also what you see on the map is that we have a number of communities that are in northern Canada. Some of them are very, very remote, and they're small, typically. And I'll give you a little bit of statistics in a few slides. And therefore, being small and remote, then they have their own challenges from an asset management and providing services to their communities, because of lack of accessibility, lots of lack of capabilities and competencies, and so on. There are more than 50 nations represented in Canada, so we're talking about Anishinaabe and the Mohawks and the Cree and so on, and they have a lot of different languages as well.